is there a story, a failure, a challenge, or something that gave you the biggest lesson of your career so
Oh,
far?
definitely. Yeah, one of the things that I realized was I was working for a big um, consumer packaged goods company, and I was doing brand management. And, this is something that I realized that what was important to me, and I was like, okay, something has got to change. I remember having those like, kind of like wake up moments, like, okay, it wasn't really hitting rock bottom. It was more like just the realization, like, I got to change or something's got to change. This is just not going to work. Like my life, like, or it's just sitting at the kitchen table. It was probably, after I come back from work, but it was like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm sitting there working at the kitchen table at 11 o'clock at night. And I was just like, I'm not a corporate lawyer at this point. It's not part of the thing. There's something that I'm doing that is just not, this is not it. I'm searching. I don't know. I had to do a lot of PowerPoint presentations in that career. And I spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes finding one image, one picture to like capture a point. I was
Mm.
like, and I just was like, is this what my life is like? Like really? Like, and ultimately in the grand scheme of things, like, so I find this perfect image for this 50-page PowerPoint presentation, and impress maybe not, get a good job or, whatever from a VP. And ultimately, what does that translate to? What difference does that make?
Mm.
And knowing that, especially within big companies, and just the way the structure was, I was leading a big global project, and for any one little decision, no less than 26 different people from all over the world that had to sign on to agree,
Mm.
you know? And I was just like, is this what my life is about? Just to make one decision, just like the packaging or something, just the lettering or the font, just something, a small detail and important, yes, but is that what, I look back, on my life and be like, yay, I've, you know, launched this product. The product launched and I see it on the shelves today, and that makes me feel good. But, that's not, if that's the only thing I have to show for my life, I think I'd be a little disappointed in myself, So, um, sorry, what was the question originally? Now I know.
Big life lesson, something that you learned from it, and uh,
Oh, yes. So from that, I realized like from that point, I was just like, okay. And I was like, just actually stop to think about what do I want for my life? And versus reactively trying to make whatever I have now in my life work. Sure, I can make it work, but is that ideal? Is that really what I want to do? Like maybe I could, in the microcosm level, find the perfect image to find this perfect deck to do this and get a great job. Is that what my life is about? Versus, okay, zoom out, pause, think about, okay, what's the life that I want? What does that encompass? And a large part of that is career and finances because, the reality is money makes more things be an option, in your world. So kind of reverse engineer, what do I want in the world and what do I want to do and how do I want to do it? So that was kind of like my exercise of what do you want? Why do you want it? And then figuring out the how from that, So when I realized I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but I knew part of it was like I knew I wanted to do something that actually helped people, like made a difference in their life, like in some meaningful way, not just pushing more product on them, that they didn't necessarily need. Okay. And why I wanted to do it. And I think for me, it's really about having that lasting impact on people. If they can, as a result of, some interaction with me, leave them in a little bit better place, sharing with them something maybe that I learned that I thought was helpful, and then, sharing that with them or leading them to a place where, you can build your confidence, self-esteem, build your net worth, all of that. Then, come with me. I'm going here. Anyone want to come with me?
Mhm.
So I wanted to help people do something more entrepreneurial where I didn't have to ask for permission to do X, Y, Z. I could just do it.
Mhm.
And really and the last thing was where I could have both the time and financial freedom, really, because if I was just about financial, honestly, right now, you couldn't pay me enough to go back to my life as a lawyer where I didn't have that flexibility and freedom. Yeah, no dollar amount would be enough. And really having the flexibility, really owning my life, really the choices that I make. And we all do. It's just that I'm not willing to sacrifice my time and what's important to me and the flexibility now for any dollar amount.
Mhm.
So that was kind of the biggest thing. And then since then, that was October 2013. And by that time, I had was so realized so not into my work at that point, and I knew I was either gonna it was either gonna end with quitting or getting fired, one way or the other. There was no way that come by the end of that year, I gave myself a deadline. I'm gonna be out of this work, you know. So, and I just one opportunity led to another, and I was just like, I went to a conference, randomly met somebody there who randomly introduced me to someone who um, had all these great trainings that he learned how to be really more entrepreneurial and learn how to motivate, learn how to understand emotions and so forth. And I think that was really the beginning of my really self-development. I'd had a lot of formal education. I went to Dartmouth undergrad, Cornell Law School, Columbia Business School, all good for what they were, but they weren't really designed, I think, in general to help me live to my highest potential. So and of course it's more of that's a they have different purposes, and it's just one of the things that I realized was that I had to kind of change what if I wanted my life to change, I needed to change.
Mhm.
And so that was where I was very open and willing to just try something different and new and just open to a possibility of I didn't know what I, didn't know. And I was just going to be open, like a very eager and thirst thirsty student, and really more of learning how to live a life that of your own choosing,
Mhm.
that you can design yourself. So since
Wow.
then, you know, that was a big pivot.
Success like binders. So binders as a metaphor for success.
Okay. Someone said this to me when I was a legal assistant. So in between working and going to law school, they said the key to happiness as a lawyer is to be organized. So, use a binder to be organized and just know your business, know your numbers, know that. So it's usually stress comes not from knowing something, stress comes from not knowing something. So.
I see that. So that's how success is like binders.